It opens doors that shouldn't exist. And tonight I found one. Lila had always been curious, the type of person who couldn't resist exploring hidden places. When she inherited her grandmother's old house in the countryside, she thought it would be a quiet retreat from the chaos of the city. The house was large, creaking with age, its wooden floors echoing underfoot. Dust covered the furniture, and cobwebs stretched across the corners of each room, but Lila didn't mind. She loved the smell of old wood, the feeling that every corner held a story. On her first night, she found a small brass key in a drawer of her grandmother's old desk. It was intricately carved, worn smooth by time, with a tag that read simply, "Basement." The house had a basement, though she had never seen the entrance. Something about the key felt wrong. Cold, almost alive, as if it had been waiting for her to find it. Curiosity gnawed at her. She searched the house until she discovered a hidden door behind a stack of old crates in the laundry room. The key fit perfectly. As the lock clicked, she felt a shiver run down her spine, as if the house had exhaled in warning. The door swung open to a staircase descending into darkness. A damp, musty smell rose from below, carrying hints of rot and iron. Lila hesitated but stepped down carefully, flashlight in hand. The air grew colder with every step. The basement seemed to stretch farther than she expected, shadows gathering in corners, clinging to the walls. The floorboards creaked under her weight, echoing through the vast unseen space. She noticed doors she hadn't seen before, carved from dark wood, their surfaces worn and scratched. None had handles. The key in her hand vibrated lightly, as though urging her to unlock them. Her heart raced, but curiosity won. She chose the first door. The key slid in smoothly, turning with an unnatural ease. The door opened to a room that shouldn't exist, a long, narrow hallway lined with mirrors on each side. Her reflection stared back, but it moved differently, subtly shifting even as she remained still. Shadows pooled behind the mirrors, stretching like dark, liquid fingers. She tried to step back, but her reflection smiled, whispering, "Come closer." Lila gasped and slammed the door shut. The basement was silent again, but the air felt heavier. Each door she passed seemed to hum faintly, vibrating with anticipation. She realized that every key in the set could open spaces that defied reality. Doors that twisted and folded dimensions, revealing horrors that were never meant to be seen. The next door she unlocked led to a room filled with old hospital equipment, rusted gurneys, broken IV stands, jars filled with murky liquid. A faint whisper echoed from the far corner. Stay with us." The shadows moved along the walls as if alive. Lila froze, feeling invisible hands brush against her arms. She turned and ran to the stairs, but the staircase had vanished. She was trapped within the labyrinth of impossible rooms. Each door she opened led to another, worse than the last. A nursery filled with broken toys, a dining room set with decayed meals, a library with books that screamed when she touched them. She tried to rationalize, telling herself it was a trick of her mind. Fatigue and stress from moving, but the sensations were too real. Cold fingers brushed her neck, unseen whispers called her name, and the reflections in mirrors and glass didn't mimic her. They taunted her, showing her twisted, hollow-eyed versions of herself. Hours or perhaps minutes passed. Lila had no sense of time. The doors and hallways seemed infinite, stretching and folding in impossible angles. One door opened to a flooded room, water rising slowly, carrying shapes beneath the surface that seemed to move with intent. Another opened to a forest of skeletal trees, their branches like claws, reaching for her. Each turn, each door, brought her closer to panic, closer to fear. She found a journal lying on the floor in one of the rooms. Its pages were filled with frantic writing. Previous visitors, family members, anyone who had found the key, each trapped by curiosity. One entry read, "The basement remembers. The doors are alive. They feed on fear. Do not enter alone." A sudden crash made her jump. One of the doors slammed open violently, and the key in her hand vibrated furiously. A dark figure stepped through, tall, distorted, features obscured. It didn't walk, it glided, and its eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. The whispers became chanting, surrounding her, closing in. Lila ran blindly, using the key to unlock another door. She emerged into a room she recognized, the laundry room of the house. But something was wrong. The walls were darker, the shadows deeper. The door she had come through earlier was gone. The house itself seemed to have changed, folding space to keep her inside. The key pulsed in her hand as if alive, and she understood. It wasn't just a key. It was a conduit, a link to places that existed beyond normal dimensions, feeding on her fear and curiosity. The doors it opened weren't merely locked. They were gateways to horrors that wanted to claim her. She tried another door, desperate. This one led to a long hallway lined with doors, each glowing faintly with a sickly green light. Whispers called from each, promising knowledge, promises, fears, and death. Shadows slithered along the floor, climbing the walls, reaching for her with skeletal hands. Panic consumed her. She ran down the hall, opening doors at random, each revealing new terror. An empty classroom with desks piled high, a kitchen where food rotted instantly, a corridor where the floor dissolved underfoot. The key guided her almost willfully, each turn unlocking more unimaginable spaces. One door opened to a room where the walls were lined with mirrors. Her reflection stared back, then smiled, then stepped out of the glass. Lila screamed, backing away, but the mirrored figure advanced, moving silently, perfectly mimicking her terrified movements. In a panic, she rushed to the stairs, hoping to escape to the main floor, but the stairs were gone. The basement had rearranged itself. Every exit was blocked, every wall shifted, folding reality in impossible ways. The key pulsed, warm now, almost encouraging her fear. She understood then, the basement wanted her. It had existed for centuries, waiting for those curious or brave enough to find the key. It fed on their terror, reshaping space to trap them forever. The shadows were former visitors, twisted and broken, trapped, and now part of its endless halls. Suddenly, a door appeared, different from the others' brass, carved with symbols that seemed to crawl across the surface. She tried the key. The lock clicked. The door opened to an infinite void. A cold wind rushed out, carrying whispers, chanting, promises of eternity. The shadows surged toward her. She ran into the void, screaming, key clutched tightly, as the doors slammed shut behind her. In the main house, everything appeared normal. Dust lay undisturbed. The air smelled faintly of pine and old wood. But sometimes late at night, the door to the basement creaks open on its own, and those who hear it whispering sometimes never return. If this story gave you chills, like the video. Comment if you dare explore the basement alone. And don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying stories that will haunt your nights.